Who is this God that confirms the dream you had in your house and tells you word for word? She thought it was a church conference for prophets, and yet she did not know that she had been taken up to the third heaven, where God was addressing the world prophets. She did not know that she had actually been taken to heaven. Now I'm gonna tell you something, another dream. In the dream, there was a room. But the crazy thing about this room, you could not see where the walls of the room were. But in this room, like these many people sitting down here, there were many people sitting there. And each and every one of those people was wearing white, and they had gold bands on their hands. And in the front, in the middle of this room, was a giant chair, which was made out of gold, and there were lions on the side of the chair. And there was a man who was sitting on top of this chair, and he was talking to the men in the room. And then he said, "You are all the prophets in the world. As you are all the prophets in the world, who is there I can send to go and rescue this woman?" The man said, "I am the creator of the heavens and the earth." Nyasha, who's Is there not anyone anointed enough to change his story? And none of the prophets, the many millions of prophets that were there, stood up. And in the midst of it, at the back of the room, a man in blue stood up and began to walk into the room and walked right in front to the golden chair. And he came to the golden chair, stood next to the man in the chair, and he said, "My God, here I am, your anointed servant. I am anointed to change your story." I was wearing a blue suit again. I was the only man of God in that conference. Matter of fact, it wasn't a conference, it was in heaven. I was the only man in heaven who wasn't wearing a gown. I was the only one wearing a suit with gold bands and the general flies here. I looked like an army general, and I said, "I am here. I'm anointed to change a story." Then the man who was seated on the chair looked to me and he said, "My son, in whom I am well pleased." And he stood up and he said, "I am the I am. Go into the world, Branson. Rescue that woman and change the world story." And you woke up from the dream. From that day, you have been looking for me. I have come in blue with a crown on my head to change your story and to declare that this is the time of the Lord, where God's power shall be seen before the end of the times. The nations shall know that he is the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and the Kings.
Thank you, my prophet.